information?
You mean the recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to let you know how to access it. We're going to put it somewhere online and give you the access link.
Excellent.
Okay, so let's get started. So today we want to talk about SSRS. And, you know, our customers are constantly in need of customized reports, and you all know that. And building canned reports in WITS can be quite expensive. It takes time to gather requirements, implement it, and make changes. So we know that there is this need to have access to the data and to be able to report on it at any time as necessary. So FEI has chosen to implement SSRS for its customers because it's very easy to use, and it is included in the WITS in the Microsoft license. So with the database license that we have, we also have SSRS. So the cost for SSRS is really minor for the customers because it's only hosting and support. So this is a great advantage. So today I want to give you a general overview of SSRS Adhoc reporting tool. So we're going to go over that, over SSRS. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Oops. So SSRS is a web-based user-generated reporting tool. And this allows to leverage the data that is collected into the WITS VMS and provides the capability of building and publishing reports from everywhere at any time with the condition to have internet available, an internet connection. SSRS is comprised of three main components. And you can see on my screen, these three main components are available through a web browser, and we have the report viewer, report manager, and report builder. The report viewer is a web-based component that allows the user to view the published reports within a web browser. It doesn't require any additional third-party software, just the web browser. The report manager is also this web-based administrative component that gives the user the ability to control how the reports are organized and distributed. And there could be some authorization levels in there as well. The report builder is also a web-based component of SSRS, and this one gives the ability to build reports with ease and convenience. So I will show you that. You see that there is a live WITS database at the bottom here. This is the repository. You know, this is where you collect the data on a daily. This is your live database for WITS VMS. Every night there is a backup of that data that is done, and that backup is loaded into that reporting database. This reporting database is the SSRS tool that is used to generate the reports. The data in the reporting database mirrors the live WITS VMS database, and it's updated every 24 hours. The MSRS server is the server which houses the SSRS database for all of the user-generated reports, and for that web-based component that you see above here. So I see that a lot of people have joined us. Welcome. Welcome, welcome everybody. I'm giving a quick introduction, quick overview of SSRS and its web-based components. I'm going to go and give you a tour of each of these components in a minute. What I want to tell to each of you right now is that you have, your site has been set up, so all of you who didn't have an SSRS before, your site has been set up. So you will be able to log in after I show you how to log in. And what you all need to know is that the login that you're going to use for SSRS.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. The login to SSRS is the same as the one you have for production. So the username and the password that you're using for production is going to be the same for SSRS.
And it's the same link. Is it going to be part of production? It's just what in somewhere in the tree view as an option, or how's that going to work? Are we going to show that?
It is a separate URL.
Okay.
This is Dagan. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dagan, I can hear you.
Oh, a quick question too. Maybe building off what Pete said. Does that report viewer allow you to extract the raw data?
Yes, you will be able to build whichever report you want. So yes, you will be able to have any kind of data you need, and it's
okay, outside the pre-canned the pre-canned reports. Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes. You're going to see all of that, Dagan. Really, the aim of SSRS is to have these user-generated reports. So all of the reports will be in your hands. You're going to be the one creating your own reports.
Good.
For the URL, I have that somewhere for you. So the URL to your site is going to be the 2 letters of your state. So for Oregon, it's going to be OR -reports.witsweb.org/reports. You're going to have a username and a password, and this is the username and the password of production. There is no PIN for SSRS.
Cool.
Okay. Something that you also need to know is about the roles. So some of you may have noticed that you have SSRS roles in WITS. Most of you have cross-agency access to SSRS. Means that when you are building or viewing reports, you can view and build reports for all of the agencies. So the role that you're going to be giving to the users will be cross-agency leader or cross-agency user. So if somebody has a login to production and then they want to log into SSRS, they will need to have one of these 2 roles to be able to log into SSRS and to see. I mean, they will be able to log in, but they won't see anything. What do these 2 roles do is fairly simple. I'm going back up here. The SSRS reader is able to run the reports that have been created, and all of that through the report viewer, and I will show you. And the SSRS user is going to be another level of user that is a little more advanced and will be able to create the reports, edit reports, and run them. The SSRS administrator, your project manager is the SSRS administrator, and one of you, I mean, one person within each of the state will be the administrator, where you can give these roles, and you can create these folders and manage all of that in there. I'm going to show you. But first of all, before you log in, make sure that you have the proper role. You may want to work with your PM if you're unable to give that role, or if you have questions about it, they will be able to help you with that. So you have these two roles, right? Cross-agency reader, cross-agency user. You see agency reader and agency user. This will be for some states like Idaho, where they're also giving access to SSRS to their providers. So they have access to SSRS, but just for their agency. There are also some roles that can be given through SSRS, but that will be instead of WITS. So if we have a situation in Iowa where they are sharing their SSRS instance with other programs and they want to restrict access to certain folders, there is the ability in SSRS to restrict access to folders and to reports. So this can be done also. If you want to do it that way, let me know and I can help you, or let your PM know and we can help you manage the security with an SSRS. Otherwise, you can just assign these two roles. You're either a reader or a user. You can see the reports or you can create and see the reports. So user is to create, reader is just to see. Simple enough. So now I'm going to give you a little tour of SSRS. This is the home page. And here I'm showing the demo site. So this is the SSRS demo site that I'm showing you today. The report viewer that I was saying earlier is that client-side application that runs directly into Internet Explorer and will allow the user to view the reports that were generated, that were created in SSRS Report Builder. There is a folder hierarchy. As you can see, this is very familiar with what Microsoft does. So you can organize the reports within folders. You can search within your folders. And then you can go in and click on the name of the report to access that report and run it. At the top of this report here, we have filters. So these are filters that were built into the report. The user just needs to select. Here there is a filter on agency name. I can either select one agency or all of them. And then I have filters also on start date and date.
Yeah, the APR was.
So I can run.
And for start.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. For start and end date, can you define exactly what start and end date? Does that mean open or closing of cases, or people that are currently being seen by encounters? What kind of poll does something like that do?
So here I'm just showing you how to run the report. When you will build the report, you will have to decide on that. When you are building the report, you will build the filters, and you will want to decide which filter is that going to be on. I believe that this report is based on the encounter created date. So I want to see all of the encounters that have been created within these two dates. And then I'm clicking on View Reports. And this report gives me, the list by agency and facility, the services, the number of encounters, and the number of units. So that's an example of report that you can generate. And these reports can also be exported to one of these formats. So you can export it to Excel from that screen. What you can always see at the bottom of the report is which filter has been enabled. So here's all of the encounters for all of the agencies prompted and the created date. So here's actually telling you it's the created date of the encounter. Now a copy of that report can be sent to an end user. You can do that by copying the URL and putting that in an email, so then you can click on the link. Or the other method is to do a subscription. These subscriptions are great. It's a good way to keep your end users notified about the latest data. And once these subscriptions have been set up, it's completely automated. You don't have to worry about sending the report. It is going to be sent based on the schedule that you will set up. So on the subscription tab for that report, I'm on the subscription section. And I'm selecting the method of delivery, which is email. That's the one we want. And then you type the name of a recipient of who is going to receive that report. You can have the subject is going to have the name of the report and the execution time of that report. You can include the report in the email and choose which format. You may want to send an Excel, this report in Excel, or you can include just the link or both into that email, so that when the user receives it, just clicks on the link. So that's how you set up your subscription. And then you want to schedule that subscription to be sent to this recipient once a day or once a week or once a month. And you can select your schedule. Right? So once this is scheduled, then the user is going to receive these notifications by email and receive these reports. There is another feature that I want to show you. Available in Report Manager, Report Viewer, is that for the report that you have, so here I have another report that has other filters. This one is on the methamphetamine indicator. And I can build a history of that report. I can actually do a lot of things on this report. The one I want to show you, which is a feature that I really like, is called snapshot. So the fact that I just ran that report, I can create a snapshot of that report. And here it just puts the time that I just ran that report. I created other snapshots earlier today. Like this morning I did one snapshot. So if I click on that snapshot, I'm able to see the report that I ran earlier with the following parameter. It was methamphetamine was set to yes. These were the dates, and this is what the report looked like this morning when I looked at it. You can manually create these snapshots, so these different versions, and then go back to previous versions. But you can also set up these snapshots to be created automatically for you. So what you will do is that you will go in the History tab, and you will set up a schedule. You will have a schedule of I want my snapshot to be created for me automatically once a week, once a day, or once a month. So this will allow you to go back into the History tab and see all of these other reports. So within this Report Viewer and Report Manager, you can set these properties, you can set the parameters, you can see the history, you can do subscriptions, and you could also give access to the reports as necessary. Now the thing that everybody is waiting to see is the report builder. So the report builder can also be accessed, through this report manager. I'm clicking on that report builder link, and this is also a client-side application that is web-based. that allows the user to create and design reports. You will have to log in again. And the first time there may be some install that needs to be done. And it's not letting me. Okay, here we go. It's always when you have a demo that it doesn't show up, right? So this report builder allows the user to select data and design reports without having an understanding of how and where the data is stored. And you don't need to know the complex programming languages, SQL, database, or anything like that. You just need to be familiar with the business model, the flow of the data in WITS VMS. With that knowledge, you will be able to create your reports.
This is Dagan. Just a quick question, though. For those of us that do like and do want to see code, is that option available to just see the underlying code as these reports are being generated?
What do you mean code?
The underlying code that the SQL code that's actually pulling these particular reports. So instead of just the GUI, is there the option also just to see the underlying code?
No. What you will understand is that with these models and these entities I'm going to explain in a minute, all of the linkage between the entities, between the tables, have been prepared by our DBA, our SSRS DBA. So all of that is already pre-created, and this is really for an end user that's just going to select the data fields and build reports that way. There is no complex query that is going to be created behind the scenes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Okay.
Marianne, this is Ron Morrell.
Hi, Ron.
Does this mean that for those of us who want to build our own queries, we won't be able to do that? Or as far as write our own queries?
Not necessarily using the SSRS tool. I mean, the tool is very similar to many other business intelligence tools. It's a little bit slimmed down because it's part of SQL Server. But I think what we haven't done is opened up the back-end database for direct queries. Now, granted, our support folks can do that, so that the functionality is there. So, you know, we can work with customers as needed who need to query data directly in the database. But SSRS is really just meant as a friendly end-user business intelligence tool, not necessarily as a more complex report-building tool beyond that.
This is Leslie Mikan. Oh, I'm sorry. I noticed you're still using Report Builder 1. Is there a plan to move to 2 or 3? Because it does give you more abilities and more closely resembles the BIDS tool.
Yes, Leslie. I believe Sarah said that this is in the works right now.
And this is Dagan chiming in. I definitely, the gentleman that spoke or responded to that, I think there might be potential interest, or just at least keep that on the option to maybe access or use that. There might be some of us that might find that a future need.
Sure, no problem with that, Dagan. SSRS is, I mean, what I'm demoing today, and most of the people in the audience are actually not that inclined at writing their own queries. They just want to have quick access to the data without having us building the reports. So that's really what I want to show today, to show how easy it is to create their own reports without having to ask an IT person to do that for them. But definitely we can see how to give you. I guess you have access to your backups and you can run queries that way as well. And through SSRS, there are some other tools to run more complex queries. But the ones that I want to show today is the report builder for the end user. So for this report builder, I want to explain to everybody that we have models that are built on top of the database tables to make these database more human readable. So the reports will be built on top of the models. And the data source of these models, you have agency level and cross-agency level. The ones that most of you will have will be the cross-agency level. So you select first the model, and then you will be able to build reports. And you can select a layout to have a table, a matrix, or a chart report. So I'm selecting that, I'm clicking OK, and now I will be able to build a report. The report builder will allow you to build reports based on the fields that are organized in entities. And here we see the entities on the left. So as I said earlier, our FEI DBA is, SSRS DBA is creating these SSRS entities. An entity in SSRS is a view that creates a relationship between two or more fields. For example, for some of you who don't know what an entity or a view is, a client name, how is the client related to address? The view will be used to set up the relationship between the client and the address, because the client may have, one client name may have one or several addresses, many addresses. So these views are really created to do that linkage. And these views have to be correct if you want to return the proper data. So we have been working on these entities, and each of these entities are classified in categories. So you have, if you want to see information about a client, you will go under the client category. If you would, for agency, you will go under the agency category, and you can go underneath. The same with billing, then you have everything that is billing related in that category. So adding a field to a report is pretty easy. What you will do is you will select the entity that you want to go through. So here are all of the different entities. Let's choose the voucher entity. So here I'm within the voucher entity. So that's the entity that I believe has the data that I need to create my report. I'm going to look at my authorization header and what's the information in that. So voucher is authorization in the database for everybody to know. When you're in SSRS, authorization header is the name of the database. So you will scroll through the fields in the panel to find the data that you want to use for your report. I want to add the agency name. What I did, I just double-clicked on it. Another way to do, I want to add the authorized amount. I'm just selecting that field, and I'm dragging my mouse into the report creation place, and I'm just releasing. So this is how I am adding an additional column into my report. And I can do that for the others. I'm going to add encumbered expended amount. And here we have a report with 4 columns. Here in the report creation section, what I can do is I can add a title to my report. So that will be voucher expenditure, let's call it that way. So here I have created that report with the title. You know, if you're familiar with Microsoft, you will be able to play with that. You can change the color, the font, everything. You can also add a picture if you want to. If you have a logo of your agency, you can insert a picture in here. You can apply filters. So in addition to adding these fields, you can also apply filters to these reports. So that every time the user is going to run the report, the filter will be applied. I'm within the same entity, and I will be able to add a filter. Maybe I want to filter by agency. That's a pretty typical filter that we want. I can have a static filter that will always be in there, or I can have a filter where I'm prompting the user. Each time the user goes and generates the report, will allow the user to prompt and to choose in a list the values. So here I have added the agency name. If we want to do dates, as we were talking with Pete earlier, like if you want dates, we could have add a date. So I want to see by created date. That will be my search criteria. I want to see all of the vouchers that have been created within a certain date range. So I'm going to double click. When I do that, it comes in that section. I can prompt the user to select a date each time they go and run the report. And here I'm going to use that on or after I will want to see all of the vouchers that have been created on or after that date, or on or before that date, right? And here you can set some default parameters too. It can be, I think the previous report that I did, it was set to several months ago actually. So I can set the report for 7 months ago, that will be the start date, and the end date will always be today, as an example. Okay, so I have created a report with 4 columns and a filter. And here I can use that function here, run report, and this will just give me an idea of what the report will look like after I publish it. So that allows you to verify and to see if the results of the report make sense or not. I'm selecting all of the agencies. And this is what my report will look like, with the total at the bottom.
Cool.
Cool?
Yeah, I like it.
So you see, that is very, very easy. Now they have some other capabilities that you can do with a report builder. You can build these tables or matrix or graph, but you can also create your own fields. To do that, I'm clicking on Add Field. And again, you have access to the entity that you're in the context of and all of the fields. And let's say I want to create a new field that will be the utilization ratio. Let's do that. So for that, what I want to do, I want to take my total encumbered plus the total expended. I'm creating my little formula, and I want to divide that by the available amount. I come back into the list of fields, and here I see I have a new field that is created. So what I will do is I will just add that at the end of my report. And it's coming as a number, so I'm doing a right click, I format, and I want to have that as a percentage. My utilization ratio is going to be a percentage. The same with the total here. I want to have it as a percentage. So let's run that report again and see what it looks like. Doo-doo!
Yay!
So these new fields, this is your imagination will be at work. Really, whatever you want to build, you will be able to do that. I want to edit to show you what you can do. You have all of these functions here. So if you want to build new fields, these functions will be able to help you. You can do sum, you can do count distinct. This will be used a lot if you want to see reports with a count distinct unique client number, where you want to see an unduplicated report per client. So if you are familiar with Excel, you will be able to build all of the formulas that you have in Excel. You will pretty much be able to build them in SSRS for your field. You know, you can do date difference. If you want to see the length of stay in ATR, you can use these date fields also. So it's as simple as that to create reports in SSRS. So what I want to show you is some other examples of reports that we have. In SSRS, so you can build these tables. So the tables is the most basic report and the most popular. I mean, it's the easiest to get started with, and that's probably the one each of you is going to start with. So it accepts most types of data fields, and it includes the total, the date, the name, the numbers, all of that. Then there is also the matrix template, and these provide specific regions as guidelines for where the data fields should be and the results. So this one here is a matrix, the one that you can see right now. It has 3 data types. It's columns for groups, row groups, and totals. So the totals are usually in the middle. Here we have, so I'm looking at the GIPRA data here. I'm looking at the GIPRA data, and I want to see the number of clients, number of GIPRAs based on these different housing types by agency. What is great about this matrix is that you can expand. If you're doing a matrix by year, you will be able to expand to see the month. And the same if you do it by agency and facility, you will be able to expand to see the agency and the different facilities. I guess that's my utilization ratio right here, where you can add a calculation field. You can make yourself. That's I was showing this one because that's the NIATIX report that is done in California. And then you have some graph. Here's a pie chart for the education and intake, the voucher expenditure. So you have different type of graphs that you can create. This is going to be very useful at the program level if you want to see where you stand in your program for the vouchers, the GIPRA and all of that. You can do this visualization of the data, all of these different reports, this graph. And here you can do it both ways. Then there are some reports that we can build here for you at FEI. So we have talked a little bit about doing some canned reports. There are some reports that you will need to have to follow a specific format. This one that I'm showing is the one that we did for ATR2 for the quarterly report, the CSAT quarterly report, where it needed to have a special format. So we just built them that way. So this is also an option, is to have us at FEI build it for you. Then it defeats the purpose of having this as a user-generated report, but we can always help building reports like that. Obviously, a lot of advantages to SSRS. But really, the bottom line is that if you are experienced with Microsoft, SSRS is really using all of the Microsoft paradigms. I mean, you've seen the folder hierarchy. You've seen these Excel and Access. Also, if you're familiar with Access, it's going to be pretty easy. So you should be able to figure things out on your own. So now the next step for you, is going to go in and to log in. So you will try, you will try that. After we hang up, you will go put your state, and this is the URL that you want to follow. And maybe before you do that, you want to make sure that you have the role, the proper role in WITS. So in WITS, you're going to go into your user account, and you are going to verify that you have.
Marion?
Yes.
This is Ron Morell. Down in Florida, I just tried to give myself access to that. It said I needed a different role. I needed something else associated with my role.
Yeah, so that's why we need Nick to do that for you.
I'll take care of it, Ron.
Okay.
Only the SSRS administrator can grant access to SSRS. So I believe what Nick is going to do now is going to grant you the SSRS administrator role. Doing that, I mean, this is our SSRS DBA usually doesn't want to give it to anybody because that's a role that you have full access to SSRS, and you're going to be controlling who has access to what. So you want to be very careful about it. So you are going to have it. Nick has it as well. So each PM should be giving you access to have that role, and then you will be able to give the cross-agency reader or cross-agency user to your colleagues and whoever needs to access SSRS. So you want to make sure you have that role. Then you want to log in. And you want to start running some very simple reports to get familiar with the entities and how these things are organized in the report builder. Just start playing with all of these different entities. And so I know that you are all still busy doing all of your ATR3 implementation, and you may not want to build any complex report right now, but just to get familiar with it, just go and run some simple report just to have you see here what is my total for my vouchers, how many clients I have, so you can look at the GIPRA entity and see the clients that you have. So you can just start and get familiar. Oh, and I didn't show you how to save a report, so I'm going to have to show you that. So you're going to run some report, generate your reports, and you want to save them, right? If you save these reports, then they're going to be accessible to whoever is able to run the reports. you want to choose where you're going to save this report. I'm on the demo site, and I'm going to select the folder. Under this cross-agency, ATR, and it's going to be voucher utilization ratio. I'm saving that. And then if I go back to my report viewer manager, I will see that now I have that new report that is available for me. And I can go in and run that report. So yeah, just get started with going and run your own reports. The entities that have been created by our SSRS DBA can always be improved. That means that she has done the linkage, we have worked on the categories, but if for some reason you feel that you see that there is a field that is missing because in your instance you added a field and you don't see it, or if you're unable to create a report because the linkage is missing, just call us and we will work on it. So we will maintain these entities and make sure they are up to date. Also, when you have a new field or a new feature that you want to add into WITS VMS, make sure you mention to your PM that you also want that to be included in SSRS, so that the requirements are done in such a way that this will always be added to SSRS. So you want to think about that. Also, you will want some additional training sessions on SSRS, so talk with your PM and see with your PM when to schedule these sessions. And at that time also your PM will give you the SSRS user guide. There is a little guide that can help you go through these screens and these different steps. There is no surprise. I mean, SSRS is really, the more you play with it, the more you're going to learn about it. The more you know about where the data is stored, where the data is entered in the system, the better it's going to be, the easier it's going to be for you to generate the reports. If you know where the data is, you can just go into the entity and select that entity and then look at whichever fields that you want to build the report with. I'm in the GIPRA, and I will be able to see, all of the information within my GIPRA. We also
these models are they the same for every state?
Currently, it is, yes. This first round, yes. Now, as you will have new features that will be specific to Oregon, your model may then vary from a model from somebody else that doesn't have the feature you have. Okay. But these, the ones that we just created are ATR3 entities, and for now it is the same. But it's going to evolve pretty quickly. I know that already. So yeah, we talked about building some CAN reports. We talked about building some CAN reports for waste, fraud, and abuse. So this means that you're going to give us some ideas. You're going to talk about what are the different elements that you need to measure waste, fraud, and abuse within your state. And we're going to combine all of that, and we're going to build these waste, fraud, and abuse reports. And the reason why they're going to be canned reports is because if each of you have different models, if we have canned reports, they can be accessed by everybody. So if you have already ideas or feedback from ETR2 on how you measure waste, fraud, and abuse, please let me know. Let the others know by participating into the WORG forum where you can share your ideas and feedback in there. There is a thread in there. So the more ideas, the better. So don't hesitate to let us know what you need. So each of you should have access to your instance. Talk to your PM if you cannot log in. Start playing with it, and I strongly suggest that you schedule additional training sessions to guide you through all of these steps that we just went through very quickly today.
Hey, Marian, this is Erin from Illinois.
Hi, Erin.
Hi. I have just a quick question. If we haven't deployed the March release yet to our production site, will we still have access to the SSRS?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it has been deployed, I would say 10 days ago, maybe. So yes, it has been deployed for all of the new instances. Now, for Idaho and Hawaii and DC, you already have SSRS, but we are working on updating your instance with the ATR3 entities. And this should be completed by the end of this week. So again, your PM will let you know about that. I was worried I was going to cover too much in an hour, but it seems like I'm right on time. Do you guys have any questions?
Not yet.
We'll probably have more. This is Dagan from Oregon, but I thank you very much for a really broad and great overview for what really is. You covered a lot, but it's a lot of detail there. So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Good. So you will see, guys, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's great to have access to your data, to be able to generate your report whenever you need it. That's very useful. That's very useful. And then, I mean, it's going to take a long time before you become a very good user. I mean, very good, like when you can generate these very complex reports. But you can, you can start right now just to have these standard reports of how many records I have, what's the difference between the GPRA intake and the GPRA follow-up. I guess you don't need that right now, but you can do some simple reports very easily. Then if you want to be more advanced, it may take a little time. But
hey, Marian, real quick. You know me, Leslie, I'm the pain. I'm already in here creating a report, and I want to know how up-to-date this data is. Is there do we have create or updated fields so that we know when the last time our data warehouse was updated?
It's every night.
Okay.
So the data,
yesterday's data.
Yeah.
Basically.
So
okay.
Exactly. The reports that you're going to run today will be on the data that was entered up to yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not live. It's 24 hours.
That's what I assumed.
Yep.
And this is Dagan, and 24 hours sounds great compared to what we use.
Hey, Marianne?
Yes, Ron.
I'm in there also, and I have a question. It brings up, I guess, the cross-agency model, and
Yes.
I just like say, okay, I selected agency, and when I do it, sometimes the agency list will show up, and I lose everything else. Is there a way I can avoid that?
No, here it's because you are in the agency model, right? So when you're in the agency model, then you're going to select agency name, and now you are in the context of that model.
Okay.
So everything you're going to do will be within that model. That entity. It's not a model, it's an entity. So when you are within that entity, then you will have to drill down and see all of the linkages that have been done and choose where you want to go. So you have agency, and then what's the next steps you want to do?
So if I'm interested, say like client.
Yep. So what you will do is that you won't be in the agency entity. you may want to start from the client entity. What I always say when I train on SSRS is think about the report you want and ask yourself the question, how many clients do we have in ATR? So just ask that question, and then you're going to figure out in which entity you want to be in. So you want to see by client. What do you want to see in the client?
Count of clients by agency.
Okay, so that will be client profile. So that will be how many clients have been created, right, within that agency. So, so you're going to select the agency name, and then the number of clients. So here you see I have the link that is done for me to go down. I see clients, and then I can go down to the client billing transactions. And then I can go down to the EOB transaction.
Yeah, you can get lost drilling down deep in there.
Yeah, you can get lost. But here for this simple report, agency name and number of clients, you just select these two columns and then you run the report.
Okay, so it sounds like one of the first things we have to do is go in and become familiar with the joins that you've already done to build these views.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to get familiar with it. You just want to think in which context do I want to be in. And then once you are in that context, then you can drill down to the next level. And then if you feel, yeah, go ahead.
To be honest with you, it sounds like you really need to understand how you all have done the joins. Because if we don't understand that, we're going to waste a lot of time fumbling through this, figuring out what's going on.
What you need to be familiar with is how is your screen, how is your version of WITS, how does it work, where are the clients and then the encounters and the program enrollments and what all of that means. And then when you want to do a report, you just need to find the category that corresponds to what you need, and you should be able to find within the category what you need. And if you don't find the category, then you can go another level below. But you really don't need to learn how the linkage is done. That's not necessary. It is done based on how it is already working in WITS. The WITS tables already have, foreign keys and things like that. So that's how we know how to do the linkage in SSRS. So that shouldn't differ from what you are used to see on the screen in WITS.
You do need to, I think what she's getting at is, so for instance, you want to do some billing stuff. So you would want to, go billing. Well, claim items are the initial point of entry into billing. So that would probably, you'd want to go to billing, claim items. And from the claim items, you can link to encounters and services. It's just a matter of thinking of what's the primary goal of a particular report. Start there and grow your way down. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Ron. I think it will take a little clicking around through the various models through the various entities, I should say, to understand how to get from point A to point B. But they're laid out as logically as WITS is laid out. So that's kind of a positive and a negative there, I suppose. But it ideally should follow a sort of a normal clinical process, clinical flow when you think of how you drill into a particular entity.
Okay, well, like I said, what I'll have to do is just go through all this stuff, figuring out what you've done, and then once I understand what you've done at your end, then it makes it easier for me to think how to build the reports.
Sure.
Sure. Yep. Good luck. Good luck, everybody. And let us know if you need additional training sessions, and we'll send you also the user guide.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining, and Talk to you soon.
Hope you have a great Easter.